Hey guys, back again to look at a game I played from when I was a kid. I liked this one. We're gonna see if I still like it today. Some things in life are inevitable, like puberty, taxes, 2D gaming mascots that get reworked into 3D platformers, death, Shrek. Frogger is a game and a name I'm sure most of us are familiar with. A very classic Konami title. My first was for the Game Boy Color. This was the first game I actually played on my Game Boy Color. The one I had from my childhood was the Atomic Purple one. And I loved this thing. I mean, come on, this game's a classic. Crossing the street like it's an extreme sport, every parent's worst nightmare. So some dude at Konami had the bright idea to turn this into a 3D platformer. So instead of going for a 3D platformer about crossing the street, they decided to just make him Anthro and, rework everything and take liberties with the rest of it.
The year is 532. Frogger is wearing a t-shirt with a diesel truck on it.
We're off to a great start.
Frogger is one of the frog folk that inhabit the Firefly Swamp area near Frogtown. 7 major kingdoms and numerous island states dominate Frogger's world. Well, okay, what? Never mind. You wouldn't know any of this unless you read the manual first. And it's a damn shame because it's obvious someone poured a lot of love into this. There are 2 whole pages dedicated to world building alone, 4 if you count the friends and foes section. Alright, let's pop this bad boy right in. So Frogger's hanging out with his buddy Lumpy in the swamp, complaining about his life not being adventurous enough when he's a frog, and being a frog sounds pretty cool to me. And then conveniently, some children show up.
What is with their eyes?
Talking about frogs getting kissed by princesses and turning into princes. Remember Frogger's reaction here.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to bitch about that in a couple minutes.
Anyway, we got some rowdy gang of mosquitoes out to get Frogger. Instead, they chase after the children, doing us a pretty big favor. Immediately, Frogger is hard as can be. Propelled by the prospect of getting laid, he wishes upon a star to find a princess.
I wish I may, I wish I must find a princess before I bust.
Never say that again.
Wishing on the star summons an impatient and rude fairy frog. I wrote fair frog mother.
The frog gets 3 gifts to help his quest. 1, you can see magic. This allows you to see the magical things and people in my world.
Okay, he can see magic. So the magic stones that have littered the kingdom, he just couldn't see up until this point. So could he have stubbed his toes on one of those and just been like, there's an invisible stone here, I keep kicking guys.
2, voila! A magic bag. And I don't mean me. It may look small, but it can hold just about anything magical.
You had to explain away your inventory system to me? You had to make that bottomless bag a magical explain-away wish? Have you ever played Zelda and thought, it's bullshit! Where does he put it all?
And last but not least, the most important gift, that of protection.
Well, I'm off, good buddy.
Y'all come back, yeah?
They won't come back.
Each loading screen is a detailed map of the level you're about to do. See what I mean about how much love and thought they put in this project? Frogger runs around, noisy as hell, and jumps even louder. Speaking of jumping, it is annoying as hell to jump. Jumping never feels right in this game. It feels slightly delayed, and it's very hard to control. When you stand still, Frogger winds up for his jump, but it does nothing but slow you down. There's straight up no animation for a running jump, and it makes Frogger look slightly demonic. The instruction manual clearly states that if you hold down the X button before a standing jump, Frogger should jump higher, but that's flat out not true. In fact, pressing it quickly I've had better success with, because pressing it slowly, the game doesn't seem to register it all the time. Pressing circle allows you to talk to things, read things, or eat bugs. Surprisingly, you never get to use his tongue.
Damn it!
To swim up, press and hold X and then move the stick. Okay, that makes sense. To dive, hold R 2? What's wrong with triangle? It isn't being used when you're underwater. It's the perfect candidate. Pressing square makes you spit frog goobers, but up close to enemies it makes them do frog foo. Don't ever use frog foo. It's annoying and it isn't effective. You're better off attacking your enemies from afar. It gets done a lot faster. The collision detection is just janky and just doesn't work sometimes. Gliding in the air is pretty weird. And supposedly this keeps you from being hurt from falling great heights, but I have tried my damnedest. I could not make Frogger take fall damage. It simply doesn't work, or it was never programmed at all. Swimming beneath the surface is nothing more than finding some extra coins if you want them. When the level ends, you get to visit the frog store, where you can buy pictures of characters or places with little descriptions to read later, like a little bio. And that's it. No other incentive to grabbing coins and gems. I just like gems, so I like to grab them anyway sometimes. It seems like I could have skipped this entire level. Next up, seeking out a bear in Bog Town. Lots of water and wooden boardwalks give this a very dollar store Rayman 2 feel in almost every aspect. We approach this kid and Frogger is like, "Yo, what's up?" Just a few minutes ago, you cowered from children. But now you're just going to walk up to one at his home?
You have the attire of a time traveler.
Boy, this kid is a brat. You just need to get Frogger really turned on and he's suddenly no longer afraid of humans. Bruiser the bear tells us we aren't crossing without giving
Old Bruiser some honey first.
That already sounds bad. Says the bees will just give it to us.
Ask 'em real nice like.
And he just sounds like he's trying to get Frogger jumped by a gang of bees. He's got a pretty sizable backyard, by the way. Again, we have a lot of almost completely unused area. Unless you're looking for all the coins and you find this game that enjoyable. When I was a kid, however, I was one of those kids. We make it all the way to the bees, and
Hope this helps.
sure as shit, they give you honey.
Guess I'm just not that trusting.
You can still choose to kill them anyway, which I was sure I was going to be forced to do. There isn't anything back there, but they do drop gems and they talk smack when they fight you, so it's worth it.
Let's get him.
Again, there are no lives in this game, so there aren't any consequences really. You can just brute force your entire way through the game. Enemies stay dead and don't respawn when you die. There is no game over screen. Not that I found, anyway. We make it back and Bruiser goes from creepy guy who just might kidnap Frogger and put him in the bottom of a deep hole to sweet grandpa-like guy in a matter of seconds.
Cross my cable car and follow the trail to Slick Willie's. He'll show you the river princess.
It's at this moment you realize this game is just going to be a bunch of assholes misleading Frogger into wild goose chases after princesses that most certainly can't turn Frogger into a prince. Inside the first floor is a bunch of slot machines and card tables. A handful of cool cats are playing cards and decide to mess up our man Frogger.
So we kill them by spitting on them.
What a game. So we make our way through the next 2 floors of the ship to eventually meet Slick Willie. I hate that name. After some very unoriginal threats, all he does is slowly walk straight into you and eventually tries to hit you, but you could easily beat this without taking any damage. Then the gator tells Frogger, "Oh yeah, just jump into this foreboding hole on the top of my ship." And Frogger just does it.
How am I supposed to believe this idiot isn't going to just happily hop into his own demise?
But yet another bait and switch as Slick Willie wasn't lying. I hate everything about this game. We make it to the river town where the mayor has locked themselves in their office and cannot get out. And it's our job to find the key that is somewhere in the town, while also having to find out where the mayor is too. As I tend to do in situations like these, I ended up finding the mayor's office first, which would be useless because now I need to find the key and then come back here and hope I don't get lost. A lot of aimless wandering later, and I find the key, and I end up clipping into this floor and have to reset the game. I find the key, and I'm off on another fetch quest, this time for a clover, in return for directions to the nearest princess. I get the clover, bring it to the fairy guy, and he tells me to follow him. So I follow him painfully slowly, and at this point, I thought that the game bugged out, because I thought I got to the exit and it just wasn't letting me leave. And then I realized the problem was I outran the little guy, and I had to talk to him in order for the door to open. Whoops. Whatever. Now we have to find 3 pieces of a big key that amounts to opening doors in this fungus-filled canyon. And again, this game keeps finding new ways to be condescending to the player. Maybe it was super important to them that there was a lot of rhyming dialogue, but I feel like they assume players aren't smart enough to realize the door could be locked until you defeat all the enemies, which has only been a staple since, I don't know, forever. And this camera isn't very helpful. These angles are very cumbersome. Just when I thought this game couldn't get any uglier, they added this abomination.
I wasn't afraid of cows before today.
Nothing like precise platforming like this to show all the cracks in your game, and listening to all this boinging and splatting is a form of torture that's outlawed in at least 37 states, including this one. Eventually, we make it out of this shroomish hell and get to Fairy Town. Fairy Town sounds pretty sweet. I'm going back! These fairies are hideous. They're absolutely an abomination on my eyes. They send me on an Easter egg hunt. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. Errand running time. Find some seeds, plant some seeds, talk to the fairies, which, believe it or not, is much harder than I thought it would be. The fairies rant and rave about this dark one I gotta go see in order to learn something. Into that tree cave we saw earlier. Apparently, this is the Tree of Knowledge. That doesn't sound too spooky. Never mind. Nothing is really a threat in this game, it seems. This section of the game is also a slog. And that creepy cow is back. So the dark one seems to be some kind of grim reaper named Mr. D. Not too exciting either. He throws stones at us and floats ominously towards us and goes to swing, but this is by no means hard. You just hop around from place to place so you can get enough space to spit on him. Eventually we defeat him, and his face breaks in half, revealing Frogger? I mean, look at Frogger. He's scared shitless, man. This ain't cool at all. Is this supposed to be a meta joke? Or is this supposed to be a reference to Star Wars? We go back to Fairy Town, and the fairies don't see anything creepy at all about what Frogger's telling them he saw. Shitty friends. Then the kids
Fairies.
want to play hide and seek. This is just padding, and it's pretty infuriating. I already spent more than enough time here. I'm sick of this place. Lastly, the fairies want us to visit a cat dragon for a riddle. That's not nearly what I had envisioned.
Yeah, small one. We'll run into that cave over there and continue running through a series of 3 large chambers.
Sounds like a pretty intense challenge, being chased vigorously by a fierce dragon and... Well, that seems kind of like false advertising. This doesn't look intimidating in the slightest. We grab the crystals and go back to the throne, I guess, where we talk to what is totally the same dragon that isn't flying in circles in the next room. Anyways, we tell the fairies the riddle, and they want to play tag now, taunting that they will finally show us a princess after we tag all of them. Meeting the fairy princess looks like it's supposed to be such a big deal, because we can even get a pre-rendered cutscene, but we're never going to see her again. It almost seems like they were hoping this would get spin-offs or children's books or cartoons and stuff and toys alongside it. Dark Trail Ruins? We got some dorky swamp monster thingy warning us about a monster he's been sniffing in his spare time. He's telling us we gotta stay away from the Big Stinky. It's almost like he's trying to call him a big old peener or something. We find huge treasure troves and devil faces inside some temple. More underwater nonsense, but at least Frogger can't drown. They really try to make these fish hard to look at, huh? These are some of the ugliest models in the game. And not even ugly as in aged badly. I mean, they kind of have, but they don't even look like they fit in with the universe here. They are far uglier and frightening. So we meet the Big Stink, and avoiding it doesn't look hard, right? Well, you would be right. The level ends with Frogger finding a magic stone that shrinks the monster, and Frogger just pockets him. Dr. Starkenstein's castle? Great, more Hollywood spoofs. I wish this game would stop with this. Frogger gets captured and put in a castle where the doctor here is trying to act all friendly and keep us overnight, when really he wants Frogger's legs, another running theme. At least one of the doc's underlings is a bro about it, telling us to get the hell out of here. See what I mean, that Frogger interacts with things strangely? I spend lots of time in this room, and Frogger can punch certain furniture but can't punch others. Nothing here takes damage.
Here it is. Yeah, who's the frog?
That was the door?
I tried doing that 10 minutes ago!
Fine. Guess this is what we're doing now. Go up the tower to move the clock forward several hours and hop back down. Sure, not that bad, but these bats are super annoying. And it's not the worst thing, but I have to press this button over and over and watch this little thing. It doesn't really take too much time or take anything out of the gameplay, and that at least gives the enemies some time to spawn in to give you something to do. We get back down and through the door, down this whole end.
Oh, frog legs! Just what I need!
Huh?
Ah, fairy frog mother!
Now, Mrs. B, this little one is under my protection.
You meddler! Go away, fairy!
Take that!
This'll hurt! Take that!
Run out, Frogger!
What the fuck was that? Was that a scrapped boss fight? A scientist and a witch are living in the same castle? Fairy Frogmother and the witch here seem to already know each other too. Whatever. We accidentally walk in on the dock, activating
The great metal chicken ray!
Good lord, man, that's what nightmares are made out of. Don't spend too much time thinking about it either. There isn't really anything great about it, and there's nothing metal about this chicken. There's nothing really Ray about it. It's just a giant chicken thing.
Now that's one big cock!
It kind of looks like it's got robotic legs in this, but the art tells us otherwise, that those are definitely fleshy, that there's nothing robotic that I see about this. Run around, strafe like mad, and spit your froggy spit all over them. You have to kill all of them. Sorry, Geeky Bill. I kind of feel bad because he's the one that let us in on it. I think I'm supposed to destroy the lab too. It isn't very obvious, but I'm supposed to break the blue parts all over the place. And Frogger makes it out just in time before the chicken ray kills them all. The catacombs? Here comes our creepy level, just like Rayman 2, with a chase scene and everything, only far less terrifying. Really? He's a fruit bat vampire instead of a vampire bat vampire? We're tasked with finding the Count's daughter, and we meet this dog who, according to the instruction manual, is to help us find something, but here he doesn't do anything. I guess the Count's daughter keeps taking herself on walks in the catacombs and gets lost from time to time. Mind you, he clearly stated that she would guide us out of here when we find her. So how is she lost? I think what he meant to say was that he doesn't know where she is and he was worried. Holy hell, that ghost is a little too scary for a kid's game, right?
Is that the thing from Courage the Cowardly Dog? I swear, that's one-to-one, the thing from Return the Slab.
Well, that was surprisingly easy.
Princess! I'm here to save you!
My thanks for saving me from that chamber. Alas, it is not to be me. You should seek out the castle to the north.
Let's talk. Is she rejecting Frogger, or is she saying, yo, I'll make you a vampire, not a prince? I'm not sure, but now we slowly follow her all the way out of here. Then Frogger is out without so much as a goodbye, asshole. Next is Goblin Trail. And boy, does it deliver on goblins. Combat just isn't any fun in this game. Still, I find myself trying to handle everything with my spit or avoiding conflict altogether and hopping over them. A real generic looking level again. This place looks like it was in a Hot Wheels game I played or a demake of Halo 3. I swear I get more enjoyment in seeing what variations of cute bugs I can find and then eat, just like the Lion King taught me. We walk in on this lovely exchange.
You're good for nothing. I'm gonna cock ya. Oh, ah, son of a... You listen to me when I'm talking to you. Do you hear me? Yes, dear.
I presume there is no castle nor any proper kingdom for these goblins. He looks like he stole that stuff. Or maybe he did? Jump? Oh, I get it. There was a better way to design that, but whatever. It made me smile. This turns into a scramble of finding keys and trying to find the gate that it goes to. They keep sending us on a wild goose chase. I need to stop saying that.
Is this what Fred feels like?
Next up is Goblin Fort. Okay, I rescind my previous statement. At least they have a fort. This looks more like Castlevania 64. It's a wreck. Where's the fort? Oh, never mind. This took me far too long to notice. This ruined town is the fort. It's surrounded by a wall. A key. A goblin? Does anyone like this? I mean, I enjoy chasing Shadow Mario and Mario Sunshine, but in that game it's scarce. It's fun to control, and it controls really tight, and it has much better level design. This seriously feels bad. It isn't redeemable. Another cow? I don't like this at all. Eventually, you find an opening in a building, and Frogger just casually hang glides his way out of town. At least that level ended quickly. Joy Castle.
This is where child me got stuck. So let's see if grown-up me can get past this.
We can't interrupt or even help here.
Let's have at 'em!
Wide load coming through.
This is one of the worst designed levels in the entire game. We're getting to that one. I'm getting vibes telling me this whole level revolves around doors like that other one did. This one is never going to end. I struggle running in circles, trying keys on different doors until they work. It is easy to get lost in here, but I'm pretty sure this was a level in 007 Quantum of Solace, so I had an idea of where I was. Eventually you happen across the correct doors, and we're off to the final level. I finally did it. The Towers of Joy Castle. This level is the worst. You scale really tall towers, then have to make your way to the other towers and scale them as well to reach the next one while fighting some knights here and there, and fighting isn't the problem, but after reaching the third tower, I somehow got turned around and got terribly lost all the way to the first tower again. By this time, I still can't get used to how Frogger controls. Look at that. This is 5 hours in? Yikes, that's our princess?
Holy shit, never mind.
Supposedly, this guy is the villain responsible for all the chaos going on in Frogger's world. Don't know why that's relevant. Frogger only cares about getting laid. Ending this war was an accident. Frogger reaches into his sack and tosses his big stink at the baddies. And with the help of the fairy frog mother, it grows and chases out the berserkers. We're left fighting the magical general of light and industry. And fighting him is a joke, too. In all honesty, I didn't even notice this sword was chasing me until I was watching the footage afterwards. I can't help but feel like this is a really bad caricature of someone who really exists, or if it's just a really bad stereotype and a terrible joke about artistic direction being forced in a nerdy fantasy direction, or I don't know. Frogger's dialogue doesn't help either, and it's pretty rude.
Gee, that guy had some serious issues.
I don't know. Somehow, Frogger gets everything he wanted, and the princess actually kisses him. And after he turns human, he doesn't even resemble his former self, even slightly. He isn't even wearing the same clothes. I am glad nothing more came from this, because this is one ugly and dumb ending. None of this felt worth it to me. Even loading the completed game file only allows you to visit the frog store and look at your collection. You can't even choose a level to play to get coins and buy the other things you missed. But I didn't want to do that anyway. But giving the player the option would have been nice. It's as if they knew nobody wanted to play this more than once. We even get an after-credits sequence with a robot we haven't seen before. Well, and what? Why is Frogger a frog again? And then the main villain is still alive. The main villain they introduced at the very end of the game, so we had no feelings towards taking him down.
You know, this game has an awful lot in common with Shrek. Think about it. They're both green, they both live in a swamp, they're both after a princess for different reasons at first, but they both end up getting true love's first kiss. There's a magical transformation, and it's the other way around. The main villain is a caricature of a real life or seemingly real life person, and they both have pop culture references. They live in a land full of magical fairy tale creatures. The only difference is Shrek is self-aware. It knows how stupid it is. Frogger doesn't, and it thinks it's cool. This game did come out first, though, so I think they stole it. If you liked what you saw and thought I was funny to any capacity, remember to like, maybe comment, share with a friend, subscribe, I don't know. But until next time, I better get prepared for it. This will make a lot more sense later. By this point, you've probably noticed that Frogger keeps getting misled and misdirected towards women that either can't or won't kiss him.